We are looking at what the industry calls
Pot one rolls.
Pot 1 roles, exactly. Salaries ranging from about $38,000 to $58,000. And the first role is one that I think a lot of people would dismiss as menial, but our notes describe it as the kinetic energy of the office, the studio runner.
The studio runner. I love this description. This is the person living in the gaps.
The gaps, what do you mean?
Well, think about a busy office. There are 1,000 tasks that are, too small to put on a calendar, but they're way too important to ignore. The runner is the one scanning the horizon, like a pilot checking gauges.
Okay, so checking paper stock, is the coffee ready?
Right.
But, playing devil's advocate here, making coffee.
Yeah.
Is that really part of the architecture machine?
It sounds mundane until it's 8:00 a.m. A client is coming in for a multi-million-dollar presentation, and the espresso machine is broken.
Then it's a crisis.
But the real value here, the insight from the research, is what the notes call invisible wins.
Invisible wins. I like that.
It's all about resource management. In a sustainable firm, the runner is the one rescuing materials. They're stripping old models so foam board can be reused. They're organizing the recycling streams. And my favorite, finding ghosts.
That sounded spooky in the notes. Finding ghost drawing sets.
It happens all the time. A project manager is screaming, "Where is the red line set from last Tuesday?" If it's lost, that's hours of work just gone. The runner is the one who hunts it down. It's a role that rewards what they call calm urgency. You don't need a degree for it, but if you're reliable, you become indispensable.
Moving up just a hair to $40,000, we have the print and plot room assistant. Now, I assume printing was just, hitting Command P.
Oh, if only. In architecture, the print room is a high-stress environment. The source actually calls it the intersection of design and deadlines.
So why is it so dangerous?
Because this is where waste explodes. Imagine a set of drawings. It's 500 pages. If you print that at the wrong scale or with the wrong layer turned on, you have just created 10 pounds of garbage.
And in an environmental firm, that's a sin.
It's a major sin. So they're the gatekeeper. It's what they call quiet heroism. It's 10:30 a.m. The courier is waiting. The plotter jams.
Of course.
The assistant is the one troubleshooting the hardware while the architects are panicking. They make sure what goes out the door is what was actually on the screen.
Okay, rounding out this first tier at $44,000 is the receptionist. And the research is very clear here. Do not call them just a phone answerer.
No, they're the keeper of patterns.
That sounds like something out of a spy novel.
It is a form of intelligence gathering. Think about it. They know everything. They know which clients are always late. They know which partners are stressed and need 2 hours of no interruption.
They manage the emotional climate of the whole studio entrance.
And for a client walking in, that is the first test, right?
It's the first signal of competence.
Absolutely. If the front desk is chaotic, the client assumes the building design will be chaotic. The receptionist proves the firm is under control.
Okay, so that's the kinetic energy, the people moving things and people. Let's step up the ladder. We're entering the 42 to 47,000 range. I want to call this group the stewards of material and memory.
That's a good header for it. This is where we start dealing with the physical reality of building something.
First up at $42,000 is the materials library assistant. I've seen these rooms floor-to-ceiling shelves of tile, wood, glass. It looks like a candy shop for designers.
It is, but it's also a database of failure and success. This role isn't just dusting shelves, it's about material memory.
Meaning they know what worked last time.
Exactly. A designer might pick a tile because it's pretty. The assistant knows that same tile cracked on the last 3 projects. But in, today's world, there's a massive technical layer here, too. Sustainability.
Right. The notes mention VOCs and EPDs. We should probably unpack those acronyms quickly.
Sure. VOC is volatile organic compounds, basically chemicals that off-gas from paint or glue. You don't want those in a healthy building.
Okay.
And EPD is an environmental product declaration. Think of it like a nutrition label, but for a product's carbon footprint.
So the assistant needs to be able to read these nutrition labels.
They need to be fluent in them. A designer rushes in and says, "I need a warm white paint, low VOC, available in 2 weeks." The assistant performs sample triage. They find the product that hits the aesthetic goal and the environmental target.
Next is the model shop assistant at $43,000. And this one confuses me a little. We have incredible 3D rendering software now. Why are we still paying people to glue foam board together?
Because you can't cheat physics in a physical model. Renderings can lie. They can make a space look bigger or brighter than it actually is.
But a physical model just sits on the table. You can walk around it.
Precisely, and the notes mention craft meets performance.
Right.
In an environmental studio, these models are testing tools. You take that model, put it under a spotlight light called a heliodon.
Which simulates the sun's path.
Exactly, and you see exactly where the shadows fall. The assistant isn't just making it look nice, they are ensuring the scale is perfect so the test is actually valid.
But if the model is warped even a little bit, the solar data is completely wrong.
Totally wrong. They are managing the physical archive of the firm's thinking.
Now, bumping up to 47,000, we have the project filing and records clerk. And I have to admit, filing clerk sounds like the driest job on this list.
It sounds dry until you get sued.
Okay, that escalated quickly.
But it's the reality of the industry. Construction is litigious. The records clerk is doing information stewardship.
Is this just like organizing folders?
It's so much more active than that. It's about retrievability. The source mentions the nightmare scenario.
Yeah.
We need that email attachment from 3 months ago proving the client approved the expensive marble.
And if you can't find it?
The firm eats the cost. The filing clerk builds the system that finds that email in 30 seconds.
Wow.
And in green building, this is even more critical because of all the certifications. You have to prove you bought the recycled steel. If you lose the receipt, you lose the LEED rating.
So they're basically the firm's insurance policy.
They make the firm's entire history defensible.
All right, let's move to the next tier. The backbone of operations. We're looking at $46,000 to $49,000. These roles feel like the bridge between, I guess, the creative chaos and the business reality.
I call this the truth section.
The truth section, why?
Because these roles deal with what is actually happening, not just what we wish was happening.
Starting with the administrative assistant at $46,000. The notes call them the friction reducers.
Think about a lead architect. Their hourly rate is really high. You do not want them spending 3 hours trying to format a travel expense report or figure out a visa for a conference.
Right.
The admin assistant removes that friction so the designers can actually design.
And specifically in environmental architecture, there seems to be a heavy documentation load.
It's huge. Tracking training certificates, organizing consultant agreements. It's not just booking flights. It's making sure the team is legally compliant to even step onto a job site.
Then we have a role I found fascinating, the document control assistant at $48,000. You call them the stenographer of truth.
Because in construction, if it isn't in the official document set, it doesn't exist. Doesn't matter what you said in a meeting.
It only matters what's on the drawing that was officially transmitted.
Right. They manage the transmittals, and there's a lot of diplomacy here. Imagine having to tell a senior partner, I can't send this out yet.
Why would they stop it?
Because the revision numbers are out of sequence, or the title block is wrong. The document control assistant is the quality gate. They have to be the bad guy internally to prevent the firm from looking incompetent externally.
You shall not pass.
Exactly. They protect the legal record.
But rounding out operations at $49,000 is the junior procurement assistant. This is where the dream meets the budget.
This is where the rubber meets the road, or, usually where the carpet meets the spreadsheet.
The conflict between green intent and budget pressure.
It's the classic struggle. The design team wants the carpet made from recycled fishing nets. It's beautiful, it's carbon neutral. The client says, I have $20 per square yard.
So what does the assistant do?
They create the options matrix. They scour the market to find a product that hits the sustainability goals, fits the budget, and this is crucial, is actually available.
Availability.
It's no good picking a perfect tile if it has a 20-week lead time and the building opens in 10.
So they're balancing ideal, cheap, and available.
And usually you can only pick 2. They help the team navigate that trade-off.
All right, we're crossing the $50,000 mark. This feels like a psychological threshold. We are entering the technical bridge and research engine.
Yes, salaries from $50,000 to $52,000. This is where the digital and the physical really start to merge.
First up, the BIM CAD support trainee at $50,000. For those who don't know, BIM stands for Building Information Modeling. It's the complex 3D software architects use. And the notes use a great analogy here, the haunted house.
Anyone who uses Revit knows this feeling. You open a model and suddenly walls have disappeared, a staircase is floating in midair, the file is crashing constantly.
So the trainee is the Ghostbuster.
They're the first line of defense. They troubleshoot the glitches. But more importantly for us, they ensure clean data.
Why does clean data matter for the environment?
This is key. We don't just use models for drawings anymore. We use them to calculate the building's energy use.
Okay.
If your model is dirty, say the walls aren't really connected, the energy software thinks there's a giant hole in the building, your carbon calculations will be garbage.
So they're keeping the digital hygiene high enough to actually do the science.
That's it, exactly.
And speaking of science, we have the sustainability intern, also at $50,000. This sounds like the role every idealistic grad wants.
It is, but it's rigorous. They're the studio's research engine. I mean, the definition of green building changes every year. New codes, new certifications, the intern tracks all of that.
They're translating the buzzwords into math.
That is a great way to put it. A client says, I want a net zero ready building. The intern has to figure out what that actually means for the window-to-wall ratio. They run the early simulations to say, okay, if we want that badge, we can only have 40% glass on the south facade.
And finally, in this group, at $52,000, the junior site survey assistant. This is the bridge between paper and reality.
You can model anything you want on a computer, but the actual site has its own truth. The survey assistant goes out there to document that reality.
What are they looking for?
Everything. The exact level of the ground, the location of a sewer line, but also environmental context like shading patterns from a neighbor's tree.
And if they miss that tree, the whole energy model is wrong.
Exactly. Or if they get the sewer level wrong by 6 inches, you have an absolute disaster during construction. They are preventing very expensive surprises.
We have reached the top of our specific ladder today, the production team. $52,000 to $58,000. This is the engine room where the drawings actually get generated.
This is where the design becomes an instruction manual for the builders.
We start with the architectural intern at $52,000. This is usually someone with a degree working toward their license. What's the big learning curve here?
Cause and effect. In school, you design shapes. Here, you have to design waterproofing. You're learning how a simple line on paper translates to a physical barrier that stops rain from getting in.
It's less about concept and more about physics.
And cost. They learn that moving a wall 6 inches might cost $10,000 because of how it aligns with the structure.
Now we have a bit of a face-off in the notes. The CAD technician at $54,000 versus the junior architectural drafter at $56,000. To an outsider, these sound like the exact same job.
It's a subtle but really important distinction. The CAD technician is focused on the how. Accuracy, speed, standards.
Okay.
They make sure the font sizes are correct, the line weights are readable for the permit reviewer. It's about technical consistency.
And the drafter.
The drafter is focused more on the what and the why. It requires a little more architectural understanding. They're looking at a wall section and asking, wait, how do we actually attach this stone to this concrete? They're solving small constructability puzzles.
And finally, the highest salary on our list today at $58,000. The Revit modeler.
The digital builder.
The notes call this role the creator of the single source of truth.
In modern architecture, the Revit model is the project. The drawings are just snapshots we take of that model. The Revit modeler is essentially building the entire building digitally before anyone touches a real brick.
And there's a crucial distinction here regarding performance again.
Yes. We talked about embodied carbon, the energy it takes to make the materials. To calculate that, you need to know exactly how much concrete is in the building. Not a guess, an exact volume.
And the Revit modeler provides that volume from the model.
If they do their job right. If they model the slab as just a generic shape, the data is useless. But if they model it with the correct thickness and material properties, we can tell the client exactly what the carbon footprint is.
So they are the gatekeeper of that performance data.
They really are.
So, day in the life, what's that look like?
It's high-tech puzzle solving, triaging warnings. Hey, this air duct is crashing into a structural beam on the 3rd floor. They find that clash in the computer so it doesn't happen on the construction site where it costs a fortune to fix.
It's incredible when you lay it all out like this. We've gone from the studio runner at $38,000 finding a lost drawing, all the way to the Revit modeler at $58,000 preventing a structural clash.
And you realize that the latter isn't just about money, it's about the complexity of the risk that you're managing.
What really sticks with me is the interconnectedness of it all. The Revit modeler can't do their carbon calculation if the sustainability intern hasn't researched the standards.
And the intern can't do that if the admin assistant hasn't kept the software licenses active.
Exactly.
That's it. In an environmental studio, everyone is part of the sustainability strategy. The print assistant reducing waste, the materials assistant finding low-toxin paints. You cannot build a green building if these quote-unquote invisible roles aren't functioning.